Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Sal the Car Gal, and let's talk about some F1 stuff. Okay, so we've just had, well, a week ago now, had the Chinese Grand Prix, and we also had a lot of other things go on between then and now. So I'm going to touch on a little bit of everything. So, first of all, let's talk Chinese Grand Prix. So, the Chinese Grand Prix takes place at the Shanghai International Circuit, is a track circuit of 56 laps, 16 turns, 2 DRS zones, and is 5.451 kilometers long. Now, my fave part of this weekend, I think, was the McLaren dominance in the race on Sunday, and all the on-track action, and no rookie DNFs. So all rookies finished the race, which was super exciting, and I think kind of a boost of confidence for them as well. My not so fave part, and I'm sitting in between the two hats on my wall here, was the double Ferrari disqualification. Yeah, that kind of ruined the rest of my day. Now, from what I understand happened was that they were both for different reasons. Lewis's skid block that lies on the underside of the floor was too shaved down, if that's the best way to describe it. And so technically the floor height was maybe a little bit too low, and with the car closer to the track means more downforce and more of an advantage. So that's from what I understand Lewis's disqualification was for. Charles, on the other hand, his car was underweight, even with the front wing. So they put the like a normal front wing on that wasn't broken, and then it was apparently fine. But then they were like, nah, this feels a little bit more sus. Let's go into this a little bit further, and decided to drain the car of fuel, and then that's when it was a kilo underweight. And there has been some stories that Charles on his in-lap tried to drive over the grass many times to maybe try and pick up some extra weight with the grass sticking to the tires. But I think the consensus was the reason why his car was underweight is because he only did one stop, and that his tires had degraded that much that they were a lot lighter than what you would normally expect, is from what I understand. So, yeah, not so happy about that. And of course, Pierre was done for the same thing. So not too happy at all after that. But we've got Japan coming up next weekend, and hopefully we can get some decent points, or Ferrari can get some decent points on the card, because that would be very much appreciated for my own mental and physical health and every other Ferrari fan out there. Okay, let's talk sprint qualifying highlights. So, Lawson's lap time was deleted due to he lost the rear of the car and then went outside the lines, so he was out in SQ1. Leclerc was struggling to get grip in the corners, Hadjar was also struggling around turn 1 and losing the rear of the car. Sonoda got in the slipstream of Hadjar. So teammates working together. Not anymore. We'll get into that later. The wind. The wind was winding. Oh my god, it was so windy out there. No wonder why they were all going a bit cray-cray. All over the place. And because Kimmy was also wrangling the car into turn 1. So they all just having a G old time. Sprint qualifying results. SQ1, P20 Lawson, P19 Hulkenberg, P18 Ocon, P17 Gasly, P16 Doohan. SQ2, P15 Hadjar, P14 Bortoleto, P13 Sainz, P12 Behrman, P11 Alonso, and then SQ3 P10 Stroll, P9 Albon, P8 Sonoda, P7 Antonelli, P6 Norris, P5 Russell, P4 Leclerc, P3 Piastri, P2 Verstappen, P1 Hamilton. Ooh, first technically P1 or pole position for Hamilton in the scarlet red, so that was a little bit exciting as well. Some highlights of the sprint race. Lando dropping down after a lock-up on his first lap. Charles was caught napping and George overtook him. Liam went very narrow into the final hairpin, making contact with Doohan and pushing him off the track. Hadjar and Bortoleto little battle. That was a little bit fun. Then there was a 4-way battle between Bortoleto, Hadjar, Gasly and Lawson. This next one, Carlos was pitting and we thought he was going to retire because he was slowing down quite a lot. But then he just changed his tyres and went back out again. So that was good. The Oscar and Max battle. Lewis winning by 6 seconds. Crazy. Where was this energy on the Sunday? Nowhere. George and Charles battle at the end. And then Jack being a little bit ambitious and I think was trying to do a similar sort of thing that Liam did to him. But he ended up hitting a Sauber. And then the other one hit him. So, yeah, that didn't really turn out very well. Let's move to qualifying for the main race. Highlights. Jack Doohan spitting off the track. Charles locking up his tyres into turn 15. He was just not having a G time in quali at all. Lawson and Sainz were really struggling. What else we got? Oh, yes. Max and Isaac's little pit lane squabble. One almost hit the other one. Coming out of the garage. Piastri got his first pole position and now has set the new track record, beating Lewis's pole time from the day before. So that is exciting. And Norris aborted his final lap. And then Russell overtook Norris for the P2 position. So the final results were P20 Lawson, P19 Bortoleto, P18 Doohan, P17 Behrman, P16 Gasly, P15 Sainz, P14 Stroll, P13 Alonso, P12 Hulkenberg, P11 Ocon, P10 Albon, P9 Sonoda, P8 Antonelli, P7 Hadjar, P6 Leclerc, P5, Hamilton. P4, Verstappen. P3, Norris. P2, Russell. P1, Piastri. Say that 5 times fast. Let's talk highlights of the race. So, Lawson started from the pit lane. Now, I never quite found out the reasoning behind this. I assume because he started P20 and was going to be starting P20 in the main race and started P20 in the sprint race, that they decided to break the Parc Fermé rules and do a little bit more work on his car. So I am assuming that's why he started from the pit lane. Lando blocking Max at the beginning. It almost looked like Piastri was fighting George, and then Lando was blocking Max, and it was like the two McLarens were working in tandem together to keep them behind, which it clearly worked in the end. Then we had a few lap 1 battles with Lando and George. Lewis and Charles clashing on the first lap, and Charles losing his left front wing end plate. Alonso's brakes were then on fire, so he had to retire from the race. Then there was lots of strategy talk about plan A, plan B, C, and it was like a constant thing that we saw in the graphics of, what do you think about plan B? No, I think we'll stick to plan A. No, I think at this rate we're going to plan C, blah, blah. I don't know what each of those mean. The commentators were saying that is plan A the 1 stop, is plan B the 2 stop. But sometimes they can even go up to plan E. And I'm like, how do you remember all of that and concentrate on what you're doing in the time? No. I don't know how they do it. It's mad respect. The undercut was quite powerful here in China this time around. Tsunoda undercut Antonelli and Russell undercut Norris? Or it may have been the other way around. But either way, undercut was very powerful. Ocon cutting the grass when overtaking Antonelli, went off half on the grass. Alex was leading the race at one point. That was very exciting. I was stoked, but I knew it wouldn't last long because he had to pit. But, it was exciting either way. Now, what else have we got? Team orders at Ferrari. Now, apparently, we only heard half the conversation on the broadcast. They made it out like it was the team's idea telling Lewis, swap the cars. But from what I can understand, is that it was actually Lewis suggesting that Charles overtake because he was blasting. He was going real quick. Even without a front wing end plate. So, yeah, that was quite interesting. Trying to put fuel on the fire there. Not very nice. What else we got? Ollie making moves on Stroll, but locking up. Ollie also making moves on Lawson, Doohan, Sainz, Gasly, and every time he was like, ciao. And I was like, all right, pop off, Ollie. You got yourself a little catchphrase there now. Very sweet. Tsunoda, his front wing just breaks out of nowhere and was slow getting it replaced in the pits. And he was, up there in the points, and then this stuff happens. And you're like, oh my God, come on, guys. Norris has brake pedal getting longer and longer. So brake pressure, I know they have to like press the brakes quite hard because you are going at such speeds, you need the brakes to, do the trick. But what it sounds like is normally they don't like they have to press hard, but they don't have to press like, pedal to the metal sort of thing. They just have to press it a little bit and it does its job. But his was slowly becoming, he had to, like, it was almost like it was loosening and he had to press it harder and longer for it to actually do its job. And that's probably the one thing in the car that you don't want to stop working. Like, accelerator, fine. But brakes, when you can't brake and you're going up to 300 kilometers per hour, you're kind of screwed. So, yeah. Last but not least, Doohan's 10-second penalty for forcing Isaac off the track. So that then came in. But then we also have, of course, the double Ferrari disqualification and Pierre disqualification. So people got to move up into the points. So, to my predictions, we have sprint pole position. I predicted Lando Norris. It was, in fact, Lewis Hamilton, which, I'm okay with that. Pole position, I also predicted Lando Norris, but it was Oscar Piastri. Yay for Oscar, congratulations. My rogue prediction was Jack Doohan scores his first points. Nope, not quite. And then my delusional prediction, maybe I am the one that cursed Ferrari this weekend, but Ferrari outscores both Mercedes and Red Bull. Big fat no. No. And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. My P1 to P5 sprint race predictions were P1, Max Verstappen. It was Lewis Hamilton. P2, Lando Norris. It was, in fact, the other McLaren in Piastri. P3, Lewis Hamilton. In fact, it was Max Verstappen. P4 was Charles Leclerc. My prediction was Charles Leclerc, but it was George Russell. P5, I predicted George Russell, but it was Charles Leclerc. So those two did a little switcheroo. Then we have our P1 to P5 main race predictions. P1, Lando Norris. It was the one of the Aussies on the grid, Oscar Piastri. P2, Charles Leclerc. And in actual fact, it was Lando Norris. Those two together scoring the 50th McLaren 1-2. So congratulations, McLaren. Then P3, I predicted Oscar Piastri, but it was George Russell. P3 King at the moment. P4, I predicted Lewis. It was Max. P5, I predicted Kimi Antonelli. But after the double Ferrari DNF, the actual P5 was Esteban Ocon. Crazy. I mean, it's great that there's so many midfield teams that are getting up there, which I'm super stoked about. So, my extra notes is, of course, the Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda news. Now, I don't understand where how inconsistent Red Bull has been with this, changing driver swapping energy. Like when it was Alex and Pierre in the car, they were like, out you go, out you go, out you go. Then they have Sergio, who has done worse than those two combined, but they keep him for 4 years and then finally get rid of him this year. Then Liam gets his big promotion. Congratulations to Liam. He does 2 races that he hasn't done before, going into a race weekend in Japan where he's done a million times because he used to compete in Super Formula, which is a Japanese racing series. And they get rid of him. Like, I'm just confused. Yes, I do believe that maybe Yuki deserved the promotion to the senior team over Liam, but not because Liam is bad, is because Yuki was performing a lot better and has been a lot more consistent. And I just hope that he can get into that car and turn the curse off, because ever since Danny Rick left that seat, it's been cursed. So Red Bull, I don't understand what you've done. It just leaves me really speechless, and you've just shattered a driver's confidence. Like, you want him to perform well, you give him 2 races, and then you're like, no, sorry mate, down you go. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, Liam was great in the V-Carb, but, you got to give him a chance. It's a new car he hasn't driven before. I mean, he has driven it before, but, clean slate going into the 2025 season. He's just done 2 races that he hasn't done before, and he hasn't performed. Yes, I understand he has to perform, but, like, whoa. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts on this, because I don't know. I don't understand it. I just hope now that they've done the swap, each driver can, get back on track, do their thing, and not just let it brush off their back. I really hope so. But we have Japan to look forward to, and obviously I do apologize for getting this out a week late. I'm going to try my best to get these out as quick as possible. Yeah, I don't have as much time as I used to last year. But also let me know what you want to hear as well. I would love for you to be involved in this, and yeah, I'm super excited about the race weekends to continue. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. You are all incredibly amazing. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow along on social media, leave your comments, your questions, your ratings, your reviews, whatever. I do strongly appreciate it, and have a beautiful day and an amazing week, and I will see you next time. Peace out.